What's going on, guys? It's your boy Vision coming at you today with a video that's been up in the works for a while, and unfortunately because of all this and because of other numerous reasons that I haven't been able to upload, but now I'm back, and literally the first thing we're going to do is the enjoyable part. World's First went out a couple of weeks ago. We've had 1 week to have fun on it, and now here is the full legitimate guide onto completing Vault Glass. Obviously, D1 veterans will understand this raid inside and out, so this is mainly purely for the Beyond Light players and new Light players coming into the game, because obviously this was the raid that saved Destiny at the time. So just a quick know what to do on each guide, learn the mechanics, learn the understandings, placements, numbers, everything. But without further ado, let's get into it. So all this first encounter is, it's not really an encounter, it is basically like the Sparrow part in Deepstone Crypt. It's just you try and get into the place, that's it. It's in the waking ruins of Venus, when Venus was a playable area in Destiny 1. And all you're doing, there is 3 plates around the area. 1 on the left, 1 in the middle up top, and 1 right in front of myself. All you gotta do, literally simple as that, stand on it and keep it alive. That is basically all you need to do here, because you will have countless waves of enemies. The one thing that changed from D1 into D2 here was that they upped the difficulty of how many enemies were spawning in. So instead of a few every time, this was probably maybe about 5-10 seconds break between them, and then the next lot would spawn in. Praetorians are the only ones that could stop progress on the plates, so they're your priority, main priority obviously, along with all ads anyway. Ads normally are your secondary objective, but normally your primary objective is to get them Praetorians down, because if they get on the plate, they will stop the progress, and you'd have to kill him to get back onto it. And if you die in that case, that's 5 seconds wasted, plus the amount of time you have to do to get back to the plate. The good thing about this is it doesn't seem like the Conflux actually stops progress. Like, it will stop when someone stops the progress, but it won't look like it depletes progress like it did in hard mode and Vault of Glass back in D1. Obviously, we don't know what Master Mode challenge is going to come with Vault of Glass when it comes out later on this year and upcoming months and that, but hopefully we can understand that. But yeah, like I said, your main priority is the Praetorians. Just, you can let them onto the plate, obviously they can take control, it'll stop the progress, but you can also stop them from coming in. And them Cyclops are a real pain and all. If you hear a Cyclops, get to it as fast as you can. Normally, from what I've gathered, the one at the top side is the most hostility one out of them all, to be honest. He seems to spawn in the best position, where all he has to do is about 10 feet away from you, and he can shoot you out in one. So he is priority. So equip a sniper, equip a ad clearing super, equip a DPS damage super for the Cyclopses, sleepers, rockets, as of tomorrow's, snipers, any sniper you want, Predator's Revenge, Succession, maybe a Ward Cliff. Anything that you want. It's literally all ad clear, nothing different. And obviously, once you've fully done it, you will have the thingy in the bottom that says Spire has been activated. That means you can go up to the front of the gate, kill people if you want to, and there's the chest for the first recommended loot of the raid. Okay, now we have the Confluxes. This is technically where Vault of Glass actually starts, in terms of Bungie's cases. In everyone's cases, it starts back outside in the waking ruins in the Spire. Basically, what you're doing here is defend. It's all you're doing. Like you just did, basically, when you defended the plate to initiate the Spire, you're defending the Conflux. There's going to be 3 waves, simple enough. The first one will have 1 Conflux, second one will have 2 Confluxes, and the last one will have 3 Confluxes. This is where you need to keep an eye out, because this place is just going to get flooded by enemies, and the Templar is just going to keep shooting at you. So you're going to have your ordinary hobgoblins, your goblins, and your fanatics. Now, the fanatics can spawn in a pool. Basically, what this pool does, if you step in it, obviously, technically, it's meant to be radiolarian fluid, but in this case, it is basically a pool that will give you a debuff called Marked for Negation. In what it was back in D1, if you would have that, you would run down to the middle where you can see the blue towards my right and left every now and again, and you would just cleanse yourself in there. Normally you would have about maybe 3 or 4 times where you were able to do that until you weren't able to cleanse no more. That was back in D1. D2 is different in the case of it. What you have to do is depending on how many of you marked, you have to go in it roughly at the same time. So if one person steps in, you all have to step in numerically, like, close to one another then. If someone steps in and then like you step in 5 seconds later, you're probably still going to be marked and the boss is going to kill you because that's his wipe mechanic basically. Once you've done the first wave, obviously after each wave the boss will spawn in his legions, which is just harpies and fanatics, that's the one. Sometimes minotaurs and wyverns will spawn in with that one and all, but then you will also have to then do the left and right conflux. This is where the time kind of gets a bit tricky and everything, because obviously it's where they increase the time or something. Somehow the first wave can be fast, sometimes the second wave can be very slow, and you might be stood here doing like the 5 minutes. Priority is ads with everything, so make sure you've got an ad clearing super, ad clearing weapons on, because the wyverns will keep on coming every now and again. They won't be often, but you might get 1, 2 or 3 wyverns depending on where you are. You will also have overlords in this encounter. Make sure at least 2 people are running overlords, because if none of you are running overlords, then you're stuck to using your super, which I do a lot because I don't necessarily always run mods anymore really. I'm not really a big fan of them, and that's basically just the case of me. I mean, there's nothing changed of it. Obviously the Confluxes is still exactly the same. They've just upped the amount of ads that spawn in. Wyverns are in, everyone loves a good wyvern, and basically overlords are in. And sometimes, yeah, wyverns can do that. And it's a good job that the thingy was done, because I missed the Nova bomb because he walked, but good job that the Legion spawned in. So it's literally just 3 waves of this. All you need to remember, the first conflux is as soon as you drop down. Second conflux, second wave of confluxes is left and right, split into groups of 3 there, and then the last wave is all 3 confluxes that you've literally seen. And that's just a matter of the case of keep the ads down to a minimum, don't let them get close. As long as you do that, you're going to get through this encounter happily. Now, Oracles is probably one of the toughest encounters, if not the toughest encounter in all of D2 Raid. Basically, it is kind of different towards D1. Normally in D1, if you were there since year 1, you would have gone stood up the top, and you would have shot your icebreaker and everything down there. When the 390 version came out, they patched that, so you all had to do it down at the bottom, like it's meant to be intended to do. And in D1, you would have 7 rounds. You'd have rounds 1 and 2 being 3 oracles, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7, and then the final round would be 9. That would be 9 oracles that you would have to shoot in the last one. This one, however, in D2, it's kind of different. You still got a lot of enemies coming at you, and the Templar does not spawn in until you fuck it up. Basically, you will have 5 rounds. You will start with 3 oracles, then 4, then 5, then 6, then all 7. You should know the locations of them all by now. If you don't, there's 1 right in the centre. There's 3 all on the left side, 1 being to the left, 90 degrees, 1 being to 10 o'clock to me, and 1 being 11 o'clock behind the block there. From the right side, again, there's 1 about 90 degrees to my right, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock behind the pillar. And basically, what you have to do on this encounter is establish a foothold of who's going to be shooting what and how you're going to be calling this out. Because when you see an oracle pop up, you need to know that one is in a certain order. So because you have 3 in the first order, you need to know which ones to shoot first. What we did in this run was from the back left towards the back right. We went from 1 all the way around to 7. So from left all the way to right was going up in numerical order. And we would say what number would spawn in. Obviously, it did pose a threat in the case that if somebody did forget it, we would have to go again, because they do show it twice. So once you know which ones you're actually shooting and you know the location, you know which ones are being shot in which order, we would call out which one we shot. So as you can see now, 4 for me, 4 for us is the center one. So I would shoot that first. Everyone would shoot theirs, and because I normally take the front 2 because I'm the big D1 vet and everything, I would wait until I had to shoot my next one, and then I would go and shoot it. And like I said, the pop-up going 3 in the first round, 4, 5, 6, 7, just 5 rounds. It's very fast-paced, so you do have to be on the ball with it. You can use whatever technique you want, whatever strat you want, whatever works for you. We've tried numbers. We've tried calling out which ones were closest to us in that. And we've also tried just shouting, I'll get this one, I'll get that one. And we haven't found one that works for us yet, but we're misguided and we really do not give a crap about what people think. We do things our own way. But it's literally very fast paced. It should no longer take you about 3 to 5 minutes max on an actual run of it when you actually complete it. But you've just got to be on the ball and everything. It's not that hard. It's just being on the ball, being around everywhere, and making sure you're shooting them in the right order. Because if you don't, you'll get marked by an oracle, which will give you marks for negation. The Templar would spawn in. You would have to go down to the middle, clench yourself together, and then you would have to repeat that round again. Once again, nothing really has changed on the Templar in comparison to Destiny 1. The only thing, obviously, is the biggest mechanic in this raid at the moment now is the oracles being killed in the right order. It's basically exactly the same from D1, so if you're a D1 veteran, you'll understand it clearly. Obviously, if you new light players, one person will have the relic, they can do certain attacks. If you do that, unfortunately, then you're an idiot, because I did that a lot and absolutely screwed my team up. But all you're doing basically is one person's holding the relic and the other one's looking for the oracles as normal. You use your super to take down the guy. One person will be detained, so you have to make sure you free them because they can't free themselves this time, unfortunately. You can do this of either two ways. You can do damage as normal and just let him teleport, where you'll see a big red light going down. Or you can do damage and you can run to the teleport spot where he's teleported to next, which will stop him from teleporting, but will also bring in Minotaurs, and they could be a real pain if there's a lot of them, depending on what difficulty you're doing. And it's rinse and repeat from there. You can do this with high DPS damage, high DPS weapons, high DPS supers. Apparently slug shotguns have been one of the biggest ones for it. Don't do what I did because I'm just an idiot. But it's basically the same of doing confluxes and doing oracles, really. All you've just got to remember is you're looking for the free oracles. It's always going to be free this time. And they'll just spawn in an order as normal. You do damage to them. You wait for the super to get back on the relic, because the relic bearer can be the only person who can take the shield down from the Templar. Once he does that, you just go absolute letter rip, all supers. If you do get a Nova that somehow happens to be like that, then sucks for you, unfortunately. But that's all you're doing basically then. You're just off doing damage. It's not the hardest encounter at all. It is very smooth sailing. Just do what you want, when you want, how you want it. Nothing wrong. Just keep the ads down to a minimum, because fanatics will be back into play and there will be a lot of harpies, and these harpies can be a real pain in the ass if not dealt with properly. All you're doing, again, like I said, you're just looking for the ones that are in order. So for ours it was 2, then it was 1, then it was 3. That was the order we call it, because we went from left, being this back left one here, all the way around to back right. Supers, war mine cells, everything. Just keep everything down to a nice little plop. Just know where he's going to spawn and you will fly through this encounter, because it's not the hardest. Just call out if you are detained, because obviously you can't shoot anything until you're out of it. It's not the hardest encounter at all. It does seem like the damage that you are putting in seems to be roughly the exact same as the amount that you were to go in if you were 400 light level power in D1 and you went into a normal Vault of Glass. That's basically all. There's not much to this encounter. Just keep everything down to a minimum, get the oracles, super the boss, damage the boss, call out if you've got a determinant bubble, and you're almost like 50% of the way there. Now, the good thing about Gorgon's Labyrinth is that nothing has changed at all. It is exactly the same as Destiny 1. The only thing that's changing here is that the Gorgons play and react a bit differently. They have 12 times more health, and there's boxes in here to open the chest. They're really the only main changes in terms of Destiny 2 in comparison to Destiny 1. So if you don't know where you're going, obviously D1 veterans will know and understand the way how Gorgons work. All it is basically is if you get caught by one, if one sees you, you're going to wipe unless you're going absolutely annihilating. But you're all 12 under light level, so be careful on that with it. They've got 12 times more health, so even though we're powerful, they've got a lot of health, so they're going to need a lot of damage going into them. But if you don't know the actual way, just follow this guide real quick. It's self-explanatory. You are just making sure everyone is together and that everything and everyone just starts running at the same time. The only hard bit is kind of seeing it because it's still a bit of a glimmer area where it's very dull and very dark. So locating the exit is a bit different. But as I said, just follow this guide, follow the exact same path I take, and you'll get to the end in no time. Now the jumping puzzle is exactly the same. It's not even really a jumping puzzle. You're trying to get to point A to point B. Don't do what I did because I think we were messing about in this point. We've been messing about since Gorgon's Labyrinth. So when we get messing about, we just enjoy life. We just do it even more for like the next 2 hours or something, and we just kill our run. But it's the one thing we enjoy doing. So all you're doing is you're making it down to where everyone is on my screen right now. It's not hard at all. You can wait for the platforms close for you to spawn in, or you can take the leap and just go down. Fun to crash is always fun to use, and it's not hard to get to at all. All you want to do is just make it from point A to point B. Like I said, this is the safer route. If you are a warlock, obviously you can glide all the way there. Hunters have kind of got to go a bit further. Titans can kind of get far with it, But just follow this route. Be careful of the little gap that's here, and it's off to the final 2 encounters in the final room. Now, the Gatekeeper is worked differently in terms of D2 compared to D1. What you want to do straight away, D1 and D2 are exactly the same straight away. You want to kill everything in the room first. You want to get rid of all the Descendants, you want to get rid of all the Praetorians, and you want to get rid of the Gatekeeper. That's your first step into this. That is literally all you need to do. So obviously, add clearing supers, add clearing weapons. Just get it all on. Just get everything in this room down towards a pulp. Because you do not want these running at you whilst you are doing the next part, because this is where it kind of gets a little bit tricky in this raid. If your communication with your team is not on point, obviously it is, you're not going to have any problem, but this is where now you need to listen and you need to learn the mechanics, because this is exactly what you're going to be doing more or less in Atheon. So obviously you've killed the Gatekeeper. Normally what you would do now is everybody would go to one side, they would open one plate, people go in, kill the Gatekeeper in there, pick the relic up, come back and go and do the same in the second portal, then all convene in the middle. This is different. Your best bet is to open both gates at the same time, so you can send one person in on each side. One side's Venus, one side Mars. Remember, just left is Mars, right is Venus. That's all you need to know. There will be a relic in the middle, one of you will need to pick it up. When they start spawning in, there will be a conflux in each portal that needs to be defended at all times. Obviously, if they sack, then it's going to wipe you. If at any point that your portals do get closed, they will be a Gatekeeper in the overworld, kill it real quick so the person with the relic can pass through. When you pass through a teleport with the relic, you will get a debuff called Teleport Destabilized. All that means is you can't go through the portal for another 45 seconds. So you're on defending duty then. You have to drop the relic, give it to the man that was defending your conflux first. Let them go out. Don't get absolutely annihilated by a wyvern somehow. But yeah, you drop it, they pick it up, they can go out, you're staying and you're defending now. So all it's going to be is just countless waves of goblins. Every now and again a Praetorian will spawn. Whoever has the Praetorian first needs to call out which planet that is, so the relic bearer can go in and kill the Praetorian, because the Praetorian has the shield. The only thing that can take the shield down is the relic. Once the relic's down, you can put firepower into it, but obviously it's about 2 or 3 slams with the relic and he's dead. So one person will have a Praetorian, the other will have a wyvern, and it's switch and switch from there. So once, say like here we had Mars first that had the Praetorian, we killed that one. I dropped it, I gave it to my buddy, he ran out, I then had a wyvern. The wyvern obviously is just a big principal wyvern like they were in the Oracle's checkpoint and everything. Nothing changed there as such, but once that's happened, I dropped it, he went out, he then gave it to someone on the outside, because there's always 3 people on the outside and 3 people in planets moving around, and because he had Teleport Destabilized, he had to give it so, because he couldn't go straight into Venus basically, so he had to give it off anyway. Once that's happening, obviously overlords are going to be spawning on the outside along with a couple of goblins. This is kind of chill for these two, so as long as you've got 2 people on that plate going and keep moving everything, you're all Gucci. Like I said, if the plates do seem to switch off, get them back on quick. If the Vex portals do stop and they're not open, you might have a Gatekeeper in the middle. He's obviously easy, just relay everything down onto his information. Again, the relic's good to use because he's dead in like 3 or 4 hits with a slam, to be honest. It's nothing hard as such. It's you're basically relay racing. That's all you're doing. You're just passing that relic through everyone, and everyone's just switching out, switching in, switching everywhere. You're just making sure everything's dead and nothing's going to be a problem. Once the wyvern's down, maybe, or maybe when the Praetorian's down, you can use the relic longer, but it's best to keep it on the move. Faster you get this done, faster you get to Atheon, faster time that you get on your raid challenge and everything. Just keep it moving fast, nice and calm. Keep an eye out on that Teleport Destabilized, because once you know that's gone, then you can go through. When you have killed 6 Praetorians, that's 3 on Mars, 3 on Venus, you'll have a new dialogue in the middle saying a new access conflux has located in the middle. Somehow it did not let me through straight away here. It was something really weird, I don't know why. But what you want to do then, you want to get everyone back into the overworld. You want to go back into the Vault of Glass, basically. And as normal, there's a conflux in the middle. Normally, you would have everyone here just defending along with 2 relics. However, you only have 1. So you have 1 relic bearer and everyone else is running just weapons, clearing supers and everything. In the case of which, you call out a Praetorian. There will be 1 in the center, 1 on the left, 1 in right. They will spawn at different times. Just relay that to the guy with the relic. Kill them. Everyone else is on ad duty again. Once that final Praetorian is down, however, there will be 3 wyverns. 1 at top, 1 at left, 1 at right. 2 of them spawn in front of the portals, as you can see right now. Get them down straight away. 1 will spawn up at top where Atheon will spawn in the next encounter. Make sure you get down quick, and you're off to killing Atheon for the first time in 7 years. And for the final time, you hit the boss. Atheon's back. Everyone loves him, everyone hates him. It's very different to what you think it is in comparison to Destiny 1. Normally in Destiny 1, what would you do? Would you just sit out the outside, just enjoy life? 3 people get teleported to a certain planet. One of them will grab the relic. The other 2 will shoot the oracles that are in there. And then you would just, obviously, jump out the portal, jump into middle and start damage. In here, it's a lot different. So when you do start the encounter, harpies spawn in a lot, and there's a lot of them. Just keep them down to minimum. The 2 that are flying on both the left side and the right side, if you leave 1 alive, it will stop them from spawning. So if you are having problem with them and controlling them, you can just leave 1 alive on each side and they will not spawn in after that. Now, once he opens the time stream and sends the supplicants, this is where it starts to get very different. So obviously, you will still get teleported. 3 people to get teleported again. Your first point of protocol is to call which planet you're on. Left side is Mars, right side is Venus. Obviously, Venus looks green, Mars looks red. And normally what you would do now is, whilst you were going down the steps, you would shoot each oracle as you saw them. However, that's not the case here. It's on the case of which, where you, more or less, as soon as you spawn in, get the relic, kill the gatekeeper that's stood there, and get to the back of the room, because this is where you can see everything. What needs to be relayed now is 3 oracles that will spawn in the overworld in the Vault of Glass. They will spawn in a specific order. So it could be left, middle, right. Right, middle, left. Far, middle, left, right. Far, middle, close, middle, right. There will be 6 oracles in each side. 2 on the left, 2 in the middle, 2 in the right. All you have to do is call them out in the correct order. Make sure the guys on the outside are opening the portal depending on where you're at. Make sure you cleanse them when they come out and everything. And when they're calling out the order, you want to be shooting them in that order when they appear. Again, they will appear twice. And once they appear that second time and the third time comes into play, they will be ready to be shown and ready to basically be shot at. You need to shoot them in the correct order. You would probably have about 10 to 15 seconds roughly from what we've been guessing with. And you've just got to remember the order that they're being told in. You'll have to do that 3 times before you start the damage phase, in which you see. However, in the damage phase, you'll have 2 things. Obviously, if you've got a well, then the well can be used as cover in comparison to using the relic as you had to in Destiny 1. Normally when you use the relic in Destiny 1, you would hold the cleanse button, it would have a large shield and you'd be able to shoot in it and do bonus damage. Well can kind of cover that, so the relic bearer can still pick it up and everything, but they can drop it, take a couple of shots. As long as you've still got that relic on hold before the DPS is over, then we're golden. And that's basically all you need to do for its damage. You'll get 30 seconds in, and normally you should start with about 20 to 15 seconds for maximum input. Depending on what you want to run, obviously, DPS supers, DPS weapons. People like to use a lot of shotguns. Seems like double slug shotgun's been a big call. And also Xenophage. Xenophage 1 taps the oracles. Sniper's doing about 2 or 3, but it's however you want to do it, however you want to enjoy it. I'll just show you quickly what it looks like from the outside. So I didn't get teleported this time, so we got told they were on Mars. Now obviously you have 3 people and you see 3 different oracles. For that first one there, you saw left, middle, then right. There's always someone calling them out. It doesn't matter who it is as long as it's one voice. If you don't have that one voice, then you're not going to get anything. So that first round there was left, middle, right for us. for the guys in the overworld that time. Second round, I didn't see as much. It's a good job because I wasn't technically doing it. My buddy and my team was doing it and calling them out at the same time. But from that one, we had left, middle. We had a close left, sorry, middle, and then far right, far left. You've got to be able to call out which ones you see. Obviously, if you get up high and get close to the middle, you will see everything. And in that case, you will see which is close and which is far. You need to organise the call outs properly. So there we had middle, far right, close right. And that's basically all you need to know on the outside, is literally not understanding how to open the portal, which planet they're on, how to do damage straight away. Normally, as soon as they destroy that last article and says Guardians met their own fate, that's when you start damage. You just go to the middle and start damaging. Big DPS supers and everything. Just know how to call out oracles and you'll be golden. Don't do what I do and somehow miss the platform that you got to stand on. But we had enough damage anyway. But that is it, basically, for Vault of Glass. It's been 7 years in the making. First ever raid in Destiny 2. 4 years later, Destiny 1 ended. And 4 years later, Destiny 2 returns with the Vault of Glass. So, very narrative guide, very descriptive. So, I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope it's going to help you in your future runs. Make sure you like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers and peace out.